Bitcoin, what's your prediction in the next 10 years? Not prediction.
Well, again,
you're not prediction. I apologize. What's your possible creative scenario that you've put out there?
The idea that we're putting in front of readers is really to encourage people to think more and more about the risks to financial security. So one of the things regulators, when you talk about them behind the scenes, one of the things that financial regulators really worry about is that we'll wake up one morning and a major bank will have come out and said, for example, that all of their deposits have been stolen in a cyber heist. This is something that regulators do worry about. And then what would then happen if that's your trigger? What then happens in the immediate aftermath, and indeed perhaps over the following 10 years? So what might happen is that you could see a serious deterioration in confidence in the existing financial system as we have it right now, and that will prompt people to think more and more about these alternative digital forms of currency. You know, we've talked a lot about Bitcoin, but of course there's many currencies, many cryptocurrencies beyond that. Blockchain can come into play. And if you look at what's happening in Asia, if you join up all the dots, you have companies like Alibaba are really sort of quite ahead of the curve when it comes to digital currencies and Alipay and things like that. So it's not inconceivable to imagine a universe in which the Western financial system, Western banks, take a really serious blow from this, and that the financial landscape could look very, very different in 10 years' time.
Yeah, it really is something that's much on people's mind. At the same time, if you take all of Bitcoin and put it together as a number, it's not as big as what the fluctuation in the S&P would be in a given day. Something that is really big is Facebook. And another thought experiment you have is, what would happen if Facebook really took a downturn? That would affect a lot of people.
That's right. And again, the scenario we're playing with here is like, what happens if Facebook doesn't get regulated? So there's a lot of talk about reining in Facebook and other social media and getting them to accept the fact that they are media companies. But what if that doesn't happen? If this trend that we're seeing of fake news and manipulating news, if that continues to the point where no one can really trust, feels like they can't trust anymore what is actually on social media, and you combine that with the polarization of political culture that we're seeing in the United States and indeed elsewhere, that could lead to a point again sort of down the line where the regulation that Facebook faces, say in 5 or 6 years' time, ends up being much worse than it might be if that happens now.